called My Friends Are Monsters, and it will be out this summer everywhere books are sold.
And which serial killers do you feature in that book?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands.
For real. It kind of is a 40-year. I've been at this, Shaun, for 40 years. I'm really old, and I've got a 40-year career. And I'm going to cap it with this hardcover book that covers why kids kill, crime prevention, school safety. I get into the myths of serial killers. I started doing this. I'm the only one that's done this research where I interviewed a bunch of guys that killed real estate agents and, abducted them from their open houses and buried them and kidnapped them. It's crazy. So I've got a section on that, and I've got a section on, when I really dig into the myths. We could talk about some of those myths. It blows people's minds because none of this stuff is really reported in the media. So if you listen to the mainstream media, you would not know what's happening here. So a lot of stuff we could talk about today. I'm open to all questions, and let it rip, man.
And all of Phil's links are in the description box below this video if you're watching the YouTube version. So please go down and support him and follow him. And, we think of the serial killer as someone like the Yorkshire Ripper in this country who preyed on vulnerable women, on sex workers. But you said real estate people. Is that a genre now of serial killers?
No, it's just a genre of a killer who targets these mostly women, but it's not all women. And they're just vulnerable. They go into a vacant home, or they go into a house with no one home, and they invite, hey, everybody, we're having an open house. Come see me. And they invite good people and bad people. And, the bad people think these real estate agents are rich. So they go in and they shoot them dead, grab their valuables, or they kidnap them, put them in the trunk of the car and take them with them. I mean, it's wild, the stories. And I interviewed a few of those guys from prison, and it's all going to be featured in a chapter of the new book called Deadly Open House.
And would you say that was all financially motivated then?
No. No. I would say it's half and half. Half of it was financially motivated, and the other half was for sexual reasons. Either sexual reasons or anger reasons.
Since we last spoke to you, Phil, have there been, I know you've dealt with thousands of cases, have there been any cases that have come to light that you've investigated that have really struck your mind?
Let's just talk about myth number one of American serial killers. And this is crazy, and it blows people's minds. People think serial killers in America are white males, right? Would you say that, Shaun? White males?
I think the Hannibal Lecter stereotype has been spread all over the world.
Michael Myers, and just keep on going. But actually now in the U.S., in the last 20 years and today, 60% of serial killers in America are actually black males, so African Americans, and only 31% are white males. So we have a new profile in the U.S. that nobody knows, and we're going to break this in the book, as most serial killers are actually black males. And so I've been studying them, and you asked how many serial killers on my new book. Well, there's the longest list of black male serial killers ever posted, ever published. There's over 1,000. When I ask people in my live shows, can you name a black male serial killer, they come up with 2 if they're lucky. They have no idea this is happening. So it's important for me because I care about all victims, right? And the media doesn't care. In the United States, the media doesn't care about all victims. They only care about some victims. And unfortunately, a lot of victims don't get coverage. And I'm going to be speaking for the voiceless, the victims that never got any coverage, the black females and the black children that were murdered and never got any news coverage at all. That's one of my passions right now, is talking about that.
Well, that's mind-blowing, because if you look at the percentage of people who are black in America, I think last time I looked, wasn't it less than 20%?
Yeah, it's less. It's like 15%.
And you're saying they are now almost 2/3 of all serial killers?
60%.
Why? How do you explain that?
I mean, it's the numbers. I mean, if you came to my live training, by the way, Shaun, you need to bring me to London. Let's just say that. You could actually sit in on my 8-hour class and see all the crime scenes and the calls and everything I get. But in my training, I say, all right, everybody, listen up. And I'm talking to mostly law enforcement professionals. I'm like, can someone name one of the last 10 serial killers arrested in the U.S.? And most of the time, they can't think of any, which is hilarious. And then sometimes they raise their hand. They're like, the Long Island serial killer, Lisk, the Gilgo Beach serial killer from New York. And I'm like, okay, yes, that's the only white guy that got arrested in the last 2 years. And then there's one Hispanic serial killer that was stabbing people in California, and the rest of them are all black males. And people are just stumped. They are shocked, and they start writing the names down because they can't believe it. But then they Google, like, we did have a serial killer in Florida. We did have a serial killer in Dallas. We just had arrested a guy. Well, America's deadliest serial killer, Sam Little, killed 93 people. He killed more than Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and John Wayne Gacy combined. And law enforcement just closed 50 of his cases, which is incredible. So things are changing here in the U.S.
So when we spoke to Dellmus last time, he said that his victims were predominantly white women. When we look at other serial killers, it seems to be a lot of female victims.
Right?
Is there a difference between the victims, how they are classified for black serial killers versus white serial killers?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Shaun. That's another myth. The old myth is that the serial killers kill within their own race. So the myth, this was true back in 1950. If you had a white serial killer killing, it would be white females, let's say, the Boston Strangler. We had another guy who was killing little boys in Atlanta. He was a black male. All the children were black. The Atlanta child killer, Wayne Williams. So that was the old days. Today, good question. And Dellmus is a good example of it. White serial killers, and by the way, the reason I say white or black is all my black friends, please, they beg me, say, please don't say African American. That's offensive to us. I said, okay, I'm going to say black. White serial killers kill 95% of the victims are white. So white serial killers typically kill white victims, except for somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer, the Green River Killer. They killed a little bit outside of their race. Where on the flip side, black serial killers kill mostly white victims, but they do have a lot of black victims. 46% of their victims are black. So the way I flip it upside down is if you're an investigator here in the United States, you have a serial killer on the loose, you're working a case, and the victims are black, you're probably going to have a black serial killer because simply white serial killers typically don't kill black victims. But if you have white victims, you should open up your suspect list to all races because people like Dellmus Colvin kill mostly white victims. But Dellmus is, when he calls, he'll tell you, but his victimology, he killed mostly white victims. He had one black female. I should say this. He had almost all white females, one black female, and 2 white males, which is interesting.
Are there any other?
Let me say another thing, Shaun, while we're right here. Let's just go right into another myth. We see these movies like Halloween, Michael Myers, and we see all this stuff on TV and the movies. And people have this mentality that most serial killers, 93% of American serial killers are male. So most serial killers are male. So we think obviously they're killing females. So I'll go to like a professional expert conference and I'll hear some guy talking from the stage. He's like, yeah, American serial killers, you ladies need to be careful. And the truth of it, the myth, that's a myth. The truth is the serial killer victimology is 50-50. American serial killers kill just as many men as women. Like Jeffrey Dahmer doesn't kill women. John Wayne Gacy doesn't kill women. William Bonin doesn't kill women. Dean Corll doesn't kill women. So there's a lot of guys that kill men and boys. And so it's 50-50.
Now, does sexual orientation play into who they choose as victims, male or female?
If it's a sexually driven crime, if they're lust killers, then they will kill obviously their preference, right? So if it's a lust killer and they're heterosexual, they're going to kill females. If they're homosexual, they're going to kill males. If they're not lust killers, so here's the thing, Shaun, ask me the question, how are all these serial killers, how are they the same? Like, what do they have in common? And here's my answer. What they have in common? Nothing. They're all different. And once you kind of get this wrapped around your mind, is they're not all Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy, and Ted Bundy. You got to get rid of that. Everybody's different. They kill from a whole bunch of reasons. And some kill because they're angry. Some are racist. Some are in a, they just hate prostitutes, the Green River Killer. I mean, everybody has a reason. But once you kind of get that, I'd say half are lust killers and half are anger, retaliatory killers. So when you're killing because you're angry, you'll kill anybody. You'll kill anybody. But if you're killing because it's sexual in nature, you're going to kill those that you're attracted to.
So what other serial killer trends have emerged that counter these myths?
Okay, so I'll just walk you through. And then if you have any questions about each one, let me know. These will all be in my new book, by the way. And I'm going to have hundreds of cases backing this up. So most serial killers are black males. That's the serial killers are white is a myth. Serial killers kill within their own race. You already brought that up. That's a myth. Oh, here's another myth, Shaun. Serial killers kill up close and personal. So we have this myth that serial killers want to come up on you and strangle you and stab you, and it's close contact. That's a myth. 40-something% of serial killers in America shoot people. So we have a new way of it's a new profile. What we're seeing here now, we just arrested another guy. Where was he arrested at? Another guy, Miami, Florida. They walk around at night and shoot and kill homeless people. And most of them are black males. So that's a new profile here. So the old myth of, sneaking around and strangling women is kind of disappearing a little bit. Even though most serial killers are male, there's a myth that all serial killers are male. And it's not true. There's about 4,000 American serial killers, and we've had about 300 females. So everybody knows Eileen Wuornos because they made a movie called Monster about her. But the deadliest American serial killer, Eileen killed 7. Wuornos killed 7. America's deadliest serial killer has killed 11. And her name is the Giggling Granny, Nanny Doss, which is kind of interesting. People don't know who that is. We talked about the victimology, male and female victims. In the United States, we talk about which states have the deadliest serial killers. And some of the smaller states, believe it or not, have a lot of serial killers. Florida, where Disney World is the number 3. So all of you people living in Australia and Europe and the UK, when you come and see Mickey Mouse, just remember Disney World is located in Florida, and it's the 3rd deadliest serial killer state in the United States. And we always have active serial killers in Florida. We just arrested one in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Tampa. Okay, they're always here. So be careful. There's a myth that, here's a myth, and you might have this in the UK too, Shaun, is that, with all the technology and the cameras and the DNA, there's not too many serial killers active anymore, right? That's a myth. The truth is the FBI in America says there'll be at least 50 at any given time. I believe there's at least 100 or more because you only have to kill 2 or more to be a serial killer in the United States. Only 2 or more. And I don't know if the UK follows the FBI guidelines, but it used to be 3 or more. Now it's 2 or more with a cooling off period. I believe there's over 100 at any given time. And I believe just like the call that's coming in right now from prison, Dellmus Colvin is a truck driver. And he is an example of what we're going to talk about now. He is why we do this. So we got Dellmus Colvin on the phone, serial killer, truck driver, strangled 50 women driving a semi-truck.
The Lebanon Correctional Facility. To accept this call, press 0.
He took off the afternoon off of work to talk to Shaun Attwood.
This call is from a DRC Correctional Facility.
You're special, Shaun.
Oh, thank you.
He likes you. He's going to say something. He likes you.
Oh.
And he likes your buddy, your guy, your producer, Ron. He likes Ron.
Thank you for using GTL.
Hey, are you on the phone there? Are you live?
Yes, I am. I'm right here in Paradise Land.
So, Shaun, tell me if you can hear Dellmus Colvin.
Yes, I can hear him. Can he hear me, or do you have to repeat what I say?
Can you hear Shaun? Go ahead, Shaun. Say hi to Dellmus Colvin.
Hey, Dellmus. It's been a while. How's it going in there?
Hey, it's going great. I hear you loud and clear. Copy that. I hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear you. Shaun wants to know. Shaun wants to know how it's going in Paradise Land where you live.
Oh, it's the same old shot. This is prison. Nothing changed, you know. Same day, different shit, but vice versa, you know. The natives are all out. They rest. I'm usually not here this time of day. I'm usually at work making mailing out license tags. And that is not a myth. Prisoners, we do make license.
Shaun, did you know American prisoners make license plates? Did you know that?
They are a huge labor force for the government, aren't they?
But they don't make license plates anymore, right, Dellmus? You just make license tags.
Yes, license. Everything is flat face now. We don't punch them no more. It's done by a big ass thing that's called a Raptor. It's a 3M machine that rented from the DMV and make tags for all over Ohio, personalized. I mail them out. You know, I'm more like a clerk. I got a desk job. I'm too old for that manual labor. So I don't do that no more.
So, Dellmus, we are talking about the myths of serial killers, and one of the myths, my number one myth, is most serial killers are black. They're not white like people think. You are a black male. You are a black male, correct?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. The myth's been, you know, white guys for the longest, you know, but man, we live in changing times now. Don't forget there's some women out there too now. This other day, this woman had 10 husbands. All of them died mysteriously, and she ain't behind bars yet.
So when you were arrested, Dellmus, you had a fiance. You were engaged to a white female, and you had a pretty nice life. Tell them about your normal life of, you know, going on vacation and having a fiance. Talk about your life.
I wouldn't know. I had a great life. I just became owner, operator of my own truck. Had a very lovely woman. She could cook, and I made great money just by trucking along, you know. And I get down in Texas, I bring a little bit of that marijuana back at $500 a pound, and I sell it at $1,000 a pound. I took lavish vacation. I had been all through the Caribbean. Only place I hadn't been was on Cuba, because back then the embargo wasn't lifted then. But I took lavish vacation. I mean, the Bahamas, St. Croix, St. Thomas, Jamaica. I've been to Hawaii several times.
Have you ever been to the UK? Have you ever been to UK?
It was on my list. I always wanted to go to London. You know,
if we get you out of prison, we're going to take you to London to see Shaun Attwood.
Do that. I love them. I can't pronounce the French crepes, that dessert. I had one at a French restaurant in New York. Oh, it was so good.
So I'm going to let Shaun ask you a couple questions, Dellman. Go ahead, Shaun.
Sure.
Talk to Dellmus directly. I think he can hear you.
Dellmus, your life sounded absolutely fantastic. Why did you risk it? Why did you risk losing it?
Well, see, I love the British accent. So I didn't risk losing it, Shaun. Well, I was at it for 24 years. Man, the last thing on the guy's mind is he's going to get caught. Come on now. That was the furthest thing. Man, when you got 24 years, Shaun, I got stopped twice with a body in the sleeper of my truck. So after that, hell, you know, that was the first thing from my mind that I actually get caught. But hell, I did, you know. So it wasn't like what you say, I risked it. It was what I was doing, you know. I guess, you know, Murphy law.
I guess if you get away with it for so long, Shaun, you guess you're going to never get caught, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what he's telling himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of questions from the viewers here, and I know you've got limited time.
Almost get ready.
So I'll try and get through them. We've got a question from John. Does Dellmus believe he was born evil, or he became evil through his life?
Dellmus, were you born evil, or did you become evil?
I became evil. I was a nerd. Man, look here. I can count the number of fights I had from elementary to high school on one hand. And I ain't never been suspended for school. I ain't never got a whooping. My father didn't believe in that. The worst thing I did as a kid was I got caught riding a mini bike crossing on a public street. You know, the only reason the damn cop caught me because it ran out of gas. But I wouldn't. You know, I put up with a lot of shit from my stepmother, from my father's new wife, all through high school, you know, sir. And as I got older, I ain't putting up with this shit no more. You can say I became evil only at that time, okay?
Gotcha.
I don't wake up evil. I ain't never woke up at all. It's a great day. I think I go strangle something. I ain't never did that. I go about my day now. If someone was to piss me off, it was Kurt, you know? So, Dellmus wasn't born evil. But devils, I ain't gonna say devil became evil, but Dellmus can do evil things.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, Dellmus will say that he didn't go hunting for victims; they chose him.
Right.
So they made him angry. They disrespected him, and then he would kill them. Like most of us would be mad, and we'd say, "I'm going to kill that guy," but we don't.
Yeah,
Dellmus just does.
I just tell John that. That's what I'm quite sure John had that. Somebody cut him off. Oh, I killed that son of a bitch. Between me and John,
He actually does it.
So,
Go ahead, Shaun. Next question, buddy.
Both times Dellmus has referenced his stepmom. How bad did it get with his stepmom?
How bad was it with your stepmom, Dellmus?
Oh, I hated her, and I let her know it. I wouldn't allow her to whoop me, whoop my brothers, my sisters, when, you know, her kids. I didn't give a shit about. Oh, I was I was bad there. I couldn't, and I let her know. One day I was showing my brother how to shoot a bow and arrow, and he got crooked. It went through the window and stuck in the kitchen cabinet where it was. Now that was a pure accident, but I had in her mind. I said, next time I won't miss, you know. And I didn't know she was in the kitchen at the time. Oh,
No, Dellmus, tell Shaun who you first thought about killing when you were 14. Tell him that story.
It was her. She told me to do something. I said, no, you ain't my mother. I told her to piss off. And she got fly at the mouth. I thought about it then. I was trying to actually recruit my brother to help. But I'm sorry. But then I want to look real funny. A 14-year-old guy trying to dispose of her fat-ass body, driving down the street, a public street, on a farm-on tractor, pulling a trailer, you know. So that's the only reason I was 14. I let her know I didn't like her. I let her know I was, you know.
So, Shaun, he thought about killing at 14 and he didn't, but he started killing at 24 and got arrested at 48. So he was active 24 years.
So a lot of people have wicked stepmoms. It's like a cliche. But what's different about Dellmus that it contributed to him going so extreme in what he did later on?
Well, see, what you consider extreme, I considered it was, what's the word? It was more like it was normal because first of all, I didn't have a bad record, you know, as far as you ain't never worried about, oh man, your driver was here, he was rude, he was this. That wasn't me. Always been polite to everybody. I want to say it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I didn't have that type of baggage or that image, you know. Only when that time came. Now, when someone really owed me money, pissed on refusing to pay, I wouldn't hesitate. I beat up a guy in a wheelchair. People don't understand. The reason I did it because the fucker owed me $300 and he was acting funny. So I pushed him down the steps in a wheelchair. Didn't give a shit about it. But next week I had my money. You see, that's the point I'm getting at here. You know, if you owe me, pay me. You know, I mean, just don't owe me and keep brushing me off. That's just like it here. I got a guy here. I had to choke in the stairwell because he owed me 2 bags of coffee, and he keep, I'm gonna get it. Get it. You see, and this is prison. You know. So you spare no one here.
So Dellmus and I have a little disagreement, Shaun. I believe every time he kills someone, he's strangling his stepmother.
I don't know why people say that.
That's what I think.
I never get that. Everybody thinks that. But I tell them, shit, when I strangle someone, it's the person I'm strangling. You see, I'm a pissed off. You know, it's that person. Because I don't believe in taking my vengeance out on other people. I believe in taking out on a person that pissed me off or owe me money or just ain't right. You know. So
What else you got? What else you got?
I don't mind giving them the business.
What else you got, Shaun?
We got a question from Teresa. Did Dellmus dabble in the occult or have any type of supernatural experience or feel that his thoughts were not his own thoughts but intrusive thoughts that were detached and he felt compelled to act upon them?
You ever get involved in the occult, or did the devil make you do any of this?
Oh my God, that's a good question. Ain't no one asked me that. No, I cannot say that. I cannot use the devil as a scapegoat, and I never thought of it like that. You know, I mean, that ain't no one ever asked me that. As far as being the truth, well, you know, I'm more like in the moment type guy. Just look at it like a light switch. Okay, when you flip it up, you expect the light to come on. When you turn it and hit it the other way, you expect the light to go off. Now, if we are having a conversation or something, if they are that rude and they consider it just plain nasty to me, that light switch going off right then and there. You know. Good day, motherfucker.
So if you and I were talking, Dellmus, or you and Shaun were talking, and Shaun or I disrespected you, and maybe we made a racial comment, or we insulted you, you could just boom, the light switch would go off, and you would grab a hold of us.
No, not really. That wouldn't piss me off. Yeah, that even because I have met people that wouldn't pop me off. But if you and I was sitting in my truck and I'm trying to explain something to you, say if you ask me like for direction, I'm trying to tell you how to get somewhere. I'm trying to explain something to you, you know, face to face. When you came to me, right, and you're not getting it, then you get all agitated and just cuss me out for no reason but some seven. You know, oh no, that won't happen. For the simple fact, you asked for my assistance, okay?
So if I got in your truck and I was like, hey, listen, Mr. Colvin, I need to go to this state or this area, and you're telling me, and I start saying, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you dumb son of a bitch, would that be it? Would the switch switch?
You have to do way further than that. I hear that every day. Now, if you come out with racial tone to talk about my mother,
okay. If it was racial or I talked about your mother, okay.
That don't bother me. Talking about my mother will. The racial tone, because I hear that every day, even from my own people.
Yeah.
Words ain't never actions was hurt. Especially when I'm going out the way, I'm trying to help you. Like the one broad and shit. She said, I said, yeah, go ahead, you can use the CB. And when she said to use my phone, I tell her, hell no. So, well, you ain't got to be a bitch about it. I'm thinking she called me a bitch. Them fighting words.
Tell Shaun, Dellmus, that is an interesting case. This is your first murder in New Jersey. No, it wasn't. Sorry about that. But you had a woman who wanted to use your CB. You let her. She wanted to use your cell phone. You said no. She called you a bitch. Now tell Shaun how you explain it, because I said, okay, you're sitting in the driver's seat of a big semi truck. She's in the passenger seat. She says that to you. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, she used my CB because I said she could. It's a lot less truck stop prostitute for you UK people. And she used my CB. I said, go ahead, baby. And she said, can I use your cell phone? I tell her like this. I say, hell no. Just like that. And her exact words, well, you ain't got to be a bitch about it. Right then and there, as soon as she said it, I snatched her by her hair. I grabbed her by her throat. I drug her to the sleeper part of the truck, and it was curtains. Right then and there. No questions asked.
Well, no, I need you to say more. I need you to say more than just curtains. You drag her in the back of the truck. I want you to explain it to me like I'm sitting in the back. What happens?
Yeah, we sit and see. First thing I did, I grabbed her by her hair and by her throat at the same time. Then I drag her to the sleeper part of the truck. And now I'm sitting on her chest. Her knees is on the floor, but her back is bent back towards the sleeper. And I'm strangling her just like that. I'm strangling her. That's how I'm strangling her. But if she would have been cordial, she would still be with her, but she wasn't.
So how long does it take, Dellmus, when you're strangling a woman like that? How long does it take before how do you know she's dead, and how long does it take?
It takes a while. Believe that. It ain't like what you see in the damn movie. It takes a while. Sometimes your hands get cramped. And just to make sure, you listen to the breathing, just to make sure it's done, I would take a plastic bag, I would put it over her head and duct tape it, and I would strip her down, get ready for disposal. I will put her in a fetal position, so when rigor mortis set in at night, I got to dump it. It's ready for disposal. But it takes a while. It ain't like what you see in the movies.
And then, Shaun, what he does is drive down the freeway, he pulls over in the dark, gets his boots on, carries the body 100 feet in the woods, lays it down. That's kind of how he goes on with his day.